the cell phone. There is so much you could say about this phone. Whether you use it as a calendar, or use the notepad for ideas that pop into your head late at night, or for your health, or for what most of us use it for, social media. There's Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat, and my personal favorite, Instagram. But the accusation made is that we have two separate lives, that our lives offline are not actually like our lives online. So who's to say they are or they aren't? I have been a part of the change of how our lives have transformed with social media and how we really communicate with one another. Growing up, I can remember calling one of my best friends to just be able to sign on to dial up AOL and instant message until we somehow messed it up and couldn't get it back on. Nowadays, I don't even need to talk to any of my friends to see what they're up to, because I can just go ahead and check their social medias, their Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and figure out right then and there, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay. There's no need to really communicate. And that's a little scary. You know, according to socialnomics.net, in the United States alone, we spend 114 billion minutes per month on social media. Not saying that is just the millennial generation, that's everybody as a whole, but it's quite obvious how other generations could think that, wow, these kids do really have two separate lives. Now, according to another article that I read by John Suhlers about bringing life online and offline together, there are two separate ways there's a division caused. A lot of people tend to just do it naturally, making their lives separate and different, and that's okay in some degree. There are virtual worlds out there. One in particular that I recently learned about is Second Life. It's not a game. First of all, it's not like Sims where it's a game. It's real-time interactions with no endpoint. You could be yourself, you could be someone different. You could be purple, pink, blue, whatever you want to be. It's your second life. And the other way is that there are so many different groups you could join online, whether you're a busy mom or a busy college student or just someone who isn't very sociable. You have so many different outlets online that you can identify yourself with. And again, these aren't bad things to be concerned with. However, it's very important to bring them back into the real world. And if you're so busy just being drawn to things online and not doing anything in the real world, how much are you identifying with this? How much does this cause really mean to you? For example, I know for me personally, ever since I saw that young woman, Brittany Maynard, post her video about her choice to end her life once her cancer got very bad with the assisted suicide option, I was very drawn to that. I was very into the idea of, if you are terminally ill, being able to choose when enough is enough. And that's how I got involved with Compassion and Choices. Now, I simply started by just sharing the Facebook video, but once I started researching it and becoming a part of their mailing list and finding out how the changes in Connecticut are coming, and that's just my way of being involved. Now, some people say that if you don't do anything in the real world, it's known as slacktivism. I was not aware of this term until recently either. And some might say, what is that? Like, what, am I doing that? And so for a simple example, after the terrorism in Paris, a lot of people changed their profile picture to the French flag overlay. Now, that is a huge symbol of solidarity across the world, and I think it's very important that that was done. But some might say, well, what else are you doing if you're so, concerned about it? And a lot of people might say nothing, because really, what can you do? It's terrorism. Unfortunately, it's something that everybody is trying to end, and it's going to be an ongoing thing. But a lot of people find, well, you're not really involved then, you don't really care then. And that's where the term slacktivism comes from. Now, the one thing about social media is that it spreads the good, the bad, the ugly like wildfire. And that's why a lot of causes and campaigns are actually grateful for this feature, because any walk of life, anybody can be involved by simply being a part of their social media. And it has spread it to many different walks of life. However, we must remember the question at hand, and that's, do we live a separate life? It's hard for me to ask that to myself because I don't really want to say yes. I don't want to say I am not who I say I am, because I try very hard to be who I am across my social media, because in my major and in what I would like to do in the future, I have to represent myself in a professional and natural way. I use it a lot for connecting with my family and my friends, and to share the works that I do, and to really show my creative side a lot of the time. However, I really wanted to get more thoughts and opinions on how someone really uses it for their career. So therefore, I asked my friend Mario Mora, who is a future hairstylist, his thoughts and opinions on this topic. So do you think life online is different than life offline?
For me personally, I don't think it is, but obviously I'm not going to post photos of me doing extracurricular activities on my social networks, but I feel like some people do portray themselves as something that they aren't. And then you meet them in person and you're like, oh wow, that's not who you are on Instagram.
And what do you usually use your social media for?
Well, Snapchat I use for, a little sneak peek into my life, see if you want to hang out with me. But my Instagram is mainly used for my work and stuff. I put a lot of photos of what I do. I use it kind of like a portfolio, and also to network with other stylists that do what I want to do, just so that I can kind of get my name out there and get some of my work out there.
Has using social media helped you further your career? Have you made any connections or?
Yeah, I've been in contact with a few salons in New York, which is where I want to end up once I finish school. So just sending them my work and being able to show them photos right away kind of works in my favor. And they email, obviously, that's just a useful tool. So
how do you make sure your life online and offline are equal and integrated in a way that doesn't portray you being different than who you actually are?
Well, online, I feel like my Facebook and my Instagram and stuff, it's things that interest me. My Facebook is I don't really post my own posts. I kind of just share things that I'm interested in. And then my Instagram, obviously, it's about hair. And then my Snapchat is usually close friends that I meet, or close friends that I have, and then people that I meet when I'm out. And that way it's kind of a happy medium, because you can see my snaps and I'm out and downtown, or you can see my Instagram where I'm at work doing hair. So it gives, best of both worlds.
Do you think social media is a good aspect of our life, or do you think it has a negative impact on us?
I think it's beneficial. It is what you do with it. You can either make you or break you. Depends on, like I said, what you're doing with it.
So after hearing what Mario had to say, it is clear that he is extremely grateful that he has the ability to connect with other people in his field that he might have not been able to if social media was not around. For me, social media and the internet as a whole is also a huge learning tool. I am able to learn things on YouTube, as there's a video on how to do just about anything. The ability to do it from home or to do it while I'm commuting back and forth to school, it's just an awesome option that we never really had before. Online learning is definitely not for everybody, as you do need the dedication and the motivation and patience to teach yourself something. In my major, communication, and specializing in advertising and promotions, I am definitely always looking up more information on how to be successful in social media, how to become a better copywriter, and just all aspects of design and what works nowadays. I generally feel grateful that I'm able to learn online, because I don't have all the time in the world to just sit in a classroom and it allows you great freedom. It was really interesting to me after interviewing Andrea Gavo, another one of my good friends who's a biology major here at Southern, to hear about her thoughts and opinions on this whole topic, because her major is not very centered around social media whatsoever. So let's listen to what she has to say. Do you think life online is different than life offline?
Yeah, I personally do believe that online life and offline life are very different.
How come?
Well, online, you're able to create a new you. You're able to go ahead and portray what you want to be as opposed to an everyday reality, so.
Do you partake in that, or do you try to be exactly who you are online and offline?
I definitely try to stay true to myself, but I do think that, everybody does partake in it. Unfortunately, you don't really meet people that are willing to go ahead and just post pictures of themselves and when they're not looking at their best, or post statuses when they're not feeling that great, or, they don't post just personal things that they're going through. They go ahead and try to portray the best of them because that's how society views you. You don't want to be viewed as, negative or whatever it is.
Do you think it's acceptable to judge someone based off their social media in an employment situation, since you have experience being a manager?
I don't think that it's acceptable to solely judge someone, just because obviously, although it is, a public profile, it's not necessarily, like I said before, who you are entirely. So you can post pictures of you partying and things like that because you like to have a good time, not necessarily because it's something that you do on an everyday basis. So should you judge someone on that? Yes, but entirely should it be dependent on, whether they get hired or not? No, it should not be solely judged on that.
And do you think social media has a positive effect on our life or a negative effect?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest. It's positive because we get to meet people, we get to make connections and things like that. Negative, because once again, people don't always portray who they are, more so who they want to be. So that's unfortunately the downside of it. So as it is with anything, there are upsides and downsides.
And what do you mainly use social media for?
Well, personally, I don't go ahead and use it. It's not very school related, realistically. It's more so friends, keeping in touch, and things like that. It's not really applicable to my major as much.
So it's social.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. So.
As you can see, her views on social media are more like the older generations, as she does believe that life online and life offline are very different. She also touched upon a major issue, and that's judging a social media profile from an employer standpoint. Her and I work together as well, and she is, above me, so she does have a managerial role in the building. And it's very important to realize that most employers, past, present, or future, have all looked at our social media pages, including professors. So, referring back to the article by John Sullers, the key takeaway from life online and offline is that you must bring the two together, and that's known as synergy. The psychology around the whole issue is quite mind-blowing to me, to be completely honest. As the article mentioned, Socrates' suggestion that, the ultimate goal in life is to know thyself, and the only way to really know yourself is to take all the different aspects of your life and figure out how they fit together, whether that be life online and offline. Having an online presence and posting pictures of you out and about with your friends, or simply showing your friend, a blog or your second life, you have online, is all ways that you're bringing the two together. The issue arises when you cannot understand and break down the barriers between the two. Unfortunately, these barriers are stemmed from fear. And fear is never a good feeling whatsoever. Those who spend a lot of their time online may have a fear of rejection offline and also might not even have a lot of friends to talk to. Yet learning how to work past those fears will allow for a much happier and more balanced life. The whole idea of being stuck behind a computer screen connects the whole other idea of anonymity online and cyberbullying. Being able to be anonymous online scares me. Being able to post something, whether it be nice or negative or downright hurtful, and not knowing who it's from leads to a lot of confusion and low self-esteem. Cyberbullying for me, or in general that I can really remember, started when I was entering the 6th grade. A couple of girls in my grade went ahead and made a fake AIM account with my name with the profile saying, "I like to eat 100-something cookies a day." Now, this is very petty to me. However, it's still hurtful that someone would go ahead and do that. The first time I ever saw anonymity and cyberbullying, joining together was when Formspring debuted. Now, to me, I honestly think this is the worst website that they could have ever created because it caused so many issues for so many people. And whether anyone likes to admit it or not, there have been so many people hurt by this. This site basically allows you to post comments on people's pages anonymously, or you can put your name attached to it, but who really does that? Even from a task in class, we all saw that, we had the ability to make up a little name, whatever we wanted to be, and then nobody wanted to release their identity, yet people were saying such funny and weird things. But really, the issue with cyberbullying is that it can happen 24/7. The rate at which a post can be spread is undefinable. There have been widespread campaigns, and even younger kids nowadays are becoming activists for this, saying no more, this can't happen anymore. Another example of that would be, at my high school, someone's senior project was creating a whole video of people who have been affected by cyberbullying and how these anonymous sites are really affecting people. And this is not something parents can fix, unfortunately. The kids have to want to do it. All in all, in this world today, there's no way social media is stopping. The key is to find balance, just like anything in life. Find a way to portray yourself online how you actually are in person. Most importantly, don't lie to yourself. Don't look for validation in the form of likes. If people love you in your real life, your posts actually don't matter to them, honestly. This is all advice that I tell myself as well, because who doesn't like to see, oh, I got 72 likes on my picture? It's just how we are finding ourselves nowadays, and we have to just find the balance and realize that a like on a picture doesn't really mean much. It's how you feel inside and how you portray yourself online in a professional and respectful way to yourself. So I really do appreciate you watching, and I hope I did answer the question of, do we have separate lives online or offline? Bottom line, I don't think so, as long as you have a balance.